Blitz is a bad person. Because after the release of Full Moon, a lot of people were split on whether it was Stolas or Blitz to blame for the ending of their relationship. Of course, the only correct answer is that both of them were to blame because both of them were not clear about their feelings, and it was a very messy situation that ended up hurting both of them. But just because both of them had a hand in ending their relationship as it was, that doesn't mean that Blitz is necessarily a good person. And I definitely think that after watching Apology Tour, I have a better understanding of who Blitz is as a character, but also how his actions have hurt others. And honestly, Apology Tour was a much needed episode because although there isn't a lot of comedy or action, it's something that we truly needed to understand Blitz's character. And I can already tell that people are going to think this episode was boring or that it's reiterating a lot of things that we already knew about Blitz. But what's very important about this episode is that we, the audience, aren't learning this, but Blitz is learning this. And it is for that reason that this episode is one of the most important episode for Blitz's characterization, because it is this episode that Blitz truly learns that he is a bad person. Because the episode starts off with Blitz breaking into Stolas' estate and kind of badgering him to the point where he's making Stolas uncomfortable. And honestly, this is one of the first times in which Stolas looks visually uncomfortable while talking to Blitz because he's made his boundary clear. He doesn't want to talk about anything adult. But Blitz is almost completely oblivious to this fact and continues to push Stolas' boundaries, which doesn't bode well for their relationship. Blitz is still living in the past. He doesn't realize that the relationship has changed, and he's holding on to the fact that Stolas will just give up his idea of loving him and go back to just wanting him for his body. But obviously, Stolas doesn't want that, and we see a really different side to Stolas in this episode in which he's kind of cold to Blitz. Stolas is pretty upset at Blitz, and at this point, it seems like it's forming more into an anger, which is how a lot of his other exes feel about him. Unfortunately, as Blitz continues to mess up every single one of his relationships, all of them end very bitter, and because of that, there's a lot of deep-seated anger within these people. And we see this happen with Stolas, as Stolas is continuously telling Blitz that he doesn't want to talk to him, he doesn't want to think about him because he's still hurting. Stolas is trying to get over this relationship and move on, but Blitz isn't allowing him, and it's one of the reasons why he's getting so angry and upset. And then obviously we have a huge emotional outburst from Blitz in which he basically says everything that we know. Blitz has screwed over a ton of people, he's messed up multiple relationships, and he owes a lot of people apologies. But it's very clear that when Blitz is saying this, he's not saying it from a very genuine space, he's saying it in order to hurt Stolas. He's going to apologize to every other person he's wronged but Stolas just to be a dick. Blitz has an opportunity right here to apologize to Stolas, and yet he can't, and instead he tries to hurt Stolas in the worst way possible. It's pretty clear that Blitz has a very messed up view on relationships, as he states in the episode that they're pretty much worthless. And it is this mindset that makes him be so cruel to the people that he breaks up with. Because obviously, Blitz doesn't want to be in a relationship and nobody else should want to either, and so he thinks that if he breaks people down enough, they won't love him. Yes, Blitz is being a bad person here, he's being mean, but it's coming from a place of what he thinks is kindness. But of course, because Blitz doesn't realize what he's doing, he ends up hurting Stolas and goes on his apology tour. And honestly, the apology tour is pretty funny. I like the fact that we're seeing characters from the beginning of the series, and there's a lot of pretty good jokes in there. But I also like the fact that Blitz throughout the entire thing wants to apologize to Stolas. Blitz realizes that he's not been the kindest person, and he realizes that his actions have hurt Stolas, and because he cares about Stolas, he wants to apologize but can't. And of course, this leads Blitz to going to the Blitz hate party put on by Verosika. And so let's get into the party, which I didn't realize that Blitz had screwed over so many people, literally and figuratively. It truly is crazy that so many people genuinely hate Blitz, and Blitz has made so many people upset over relationships. And I think it proves that there is a pattern of behavior with Blitz that didn't just start with Stolas. Yes, I think that Stolas was a different case from a lot of these people, but this is something that has happened continuously. And obviously, Blitz breaks into the party and he tries to find Stolas. But he ends up walking in when Stolas and Verosika are on stage, and Stolas is singing his emotions and how he truly feels about Blitz. And it's at this point that Blitz finally begins to realize how badly he screwed up. Because although we know that Blitz cares about Stolas, every single action he's taken has basically pushed him away, which is the exact same thing that happened between him and Verosika. I think that the song number, although being focused on Stolas, also gives us a lot of insight into Blitz's relationship with Verosika. Because throughout the song, as Stolas is trying to blame himself for certain things, Verosika continues to say that no, it's Blitz's fault. And of course, this is where they start to parallel the relationship between Verosika and Blitz and the relationship between Blitz and Stolas. Verosika and Stolas have a lot in common. They both loved somebody who could never love them back in the way that they wanted to. They were both vulnerable with a person that didn't want to deal with that. And because of that, they were both badly hurt. And I think that a lot of people people don't realize how badly hurt Verosika actually was when Blitz broke up with her. And honestly, I think that Verosika felt more pain than Stolas is feeling right now. Because after the song number, Blitz and Stolas finally have their talk. Blitz is being completely transparent, in which he's basically saying that he just didn't take Stolas seriously. He didn't truly take into account his emotions, and because of that, he's sorry. And I think it's pretty funny that when Blitz states he didn't realize that anybody could actually love him, Stolas looks at him and says, "Bro, there's a whole party of people who loved you." And it's at this moment that Blitz realizes that everything that has been happening is his fault. Blitz throughout the series has been incredibly jealous of Millie and Moxie. Why? Because he's jealous of their relationship. It's clear that Blitz craves this type of relationship. He wants to be close to somebody. He wanted that with Stolas. But because Blitz never changed his actions, every single relationship he tried to get into ended up the same way. And I think it's made pretty clear in the episode that when Stolas is talking about the romantic relationship that he wants, the fact that he wants somebody to truly love him, Blitz feels the same way. Blitz deep down wants that same type of relationship. Him and Stolas are actually on the same page. But Stolas has come to the point where he is emotionally vulnerable and will be able to have that type of relationship, whereas Blitz isn't. He's basically walled that part off from the world, and because he is so hardened to this fact, he'll never truly find that. And this, of course, leads into the conversation with Blitz and Verosika, which is probably my favorite part of the episode. And it's at this point that I realized that Verosika is the true victim in all of this, because the only sin that Verosika truly committed was loving Blitz. And it is so heartbreaking to realize that the only reason that Blitz hates Verosika's guts is because she told him that she loved him. The exact same thing that happened with Stolas happened with Verosika. And I think that it's at this moment that it finally clicks for Blitz that he is in the wrong in this situation. And honestly, it's why I truly appreciate the apology he gave to Verosika, and it's why Verosika kind of accepted it. I think deep down, people don't truly hate Blitz. They hate that he is so closed off and that he's unable to accept other people's emotions. And it's clear that Verosika is still hurting from losing Blitz. She truly loved and cared about a person who didn't love her back. At least with Stolas, I think there's a portion of him that knows that Blitz does care about him, but because Blitz continuously pushes him away, he realizes that despite Blitz's feelings, he needs to move on. But with Verosika, it seems like it was completely different, and Blitz just didn't have those same feelings for her. And in fact, he basically rubbed it in her face that he didn't feel the same way. But I think that Blitz truly realizes from Stolas and Verosika that he needs to change as a person. And at the very end of the episode, he realizes that until he is a better person and until he can be that romantic partner for Stolas, he needs to let him go. And when Verosika hands Blitz the bleeding heart cake, it is truly symbolic of how he's feeling. Because unfortunately, the man with a bleeding heart can't have his cake and eat it too. And that's the end of the episode, and although I thought it was a little predictable, I still truly enjoyed this episode. And yes, although the audience already knew a lot of this stuff about Blitz, it was Blitz that truly needed to learn so that he can finally become a better person. Not too much happened in this episode, but it didn't really need that. All we needed were the conversations between Blitz and Verosika and Stolas and Blitz. And because of that, it was a pretty solid episode. But I would be curious to hear what you guys think about the episode down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. It truly helps out the algorithm, and I would appreciate it a lot. And of course, until next time, Tanuki crew, peace.